This outcome turns from how AI works to whether it works fairly. As AI starts making decisions about people's lives, we need to think hard about bias, privacy, transparency, and who's responsible when things go wrong. Why does ethics belong in a computing unit at all? Because the moment AI is used to make or shape decisions about people, its effects stop being purely technical and become a matter of fairness. These systems can influence who lands a job, secures a loan, receives medical care, or even faces a prison sentence, so a mistake carries real human weight. And because AI runs at enormous scale, one flawed system can quietly get it wrong for millions of people at once. Studying its ethics is how we learn to build and use it responsibly. AI's ripples spread well beyond the technology itself into four broad areas. It touches people through jobs, privacy, fairness, and everyday choices. It touches society, shaping trust, democracy, and the spread of misinformation. It reshapes the economy through productivity and job displacement, and it even affects the environment through the energy and water used to train enormous models. Keep those four in view, because most ethical questions land in one of them. Four ideas sit at the center of AI ethics, and they'll recur throughout this outcome. Bias is systematic unfairness in a system's output, usually soaked up from skewed training data. Privacy is people's right to control how their personal data is gathered and used. Transparency is being able to see how a decision was reached. And accountability is being clear about who answers for it when harm is done. Hold on to those four, they're the backbone of everything that follows. Let's start with bias, because it's one of the thorniest issues. AI learns from historical data, so if that data carries the fingerprints of past discrimination, the system can repeat and even amplify it. Bias might creep in by gender, ethnicity, age, or even postcode, producing outcomes that are unfair to particular groups. Fairness simply means treating different groups equitably. And reducing bias isn't just about piling on more data. It takes diverse data, careful testing, and genuine human review. Real cases show how quickly biased data turns into unfair decisions. One well-known recruitment tool, trained mostly on men's job applications, quietly learned to downgrade women's, and it had to be scrapped. Some facial recognition systems have been noticeably less accurate for women and for people with darker skin. At scale, a biased system can wrongly deny people jobs, loans, or services without anyone intending it to. The root cause is nearly always unrepresentative training data, not deliberate prejudice. AI is famously hungry for data, and a great deal of that data is deeply personal: our photos, messages, location, and browsing history. Combine enough of it, and you can reveal sensitive things a person never chose to share. In the UK, the Data Protection Act and UK GDPR set out rules for how personal data may be used. Importantly, those rules give people rights over their data, including, in some cases, a right not to be subject to a purely automated decision. AI also makes mass surveillance cheap and powerful in a way that simply wasn't possible before. Cameras fitted with facial recognition can track people as they move through public space, which can help catch criminals or find a missing person, but also chips away at privacy and freedom. Constant monitoring can produce what's called a chilling effect, quietly discouraging lawful protest and free expression. So society has to weigh security against civil liberties whenever it deploys this kind of AI. Here's a genuinely tricky problem. Many deep learning models are black boxes, meaning even the people who built them can't fully explain each individual decision. That's uncomfortable when the decision is something serious, like refusing someone a loan or a benefit. A field called explainable AI is trying to make these decisions understandable to the people they affect. Because if a decision can't be explained, it's very hard to challenge, to correct, or to trust. When an AI causes harm, a hard question follows. Who's actually responsible? The developer who built it, the company using it, or the person operating it? Automated decision-making takes humans out of the loop, which is efficient but risky when the stakes are high. Good practice is to keep a human in the loop for serious choices in areas like health, justice, and welfare. Clear lines of accountability matter because without them, harms are hard to spot and even harder to put right. A few more concepts round out the picture. Fairness, as we've said, is treating different groups equitably without discrimination. Consent means people knowingly agreeing to how their data is collected and used. Autonomy is about people keeping meaningful control over decisions that affect them, and safety is designing AI so it behaves reliably and doesn't cause avoidable harm. Together with bias, privacy, and transparency, these give you a vocabulary for talking about responsible AI. One of the biggest worries about AI is what it means for our jobs. It's expected to automate routine, repetitive tasks across all sorts of roles, from admin to driving, so some jobs will certainly shrink. But new roles are appearing too, in data, in oversight, and in AI ethics itself. The real ethical challenges are retraining the people whose work is displaced and sharing the wealth AI creates fairly. History suggests technology tends to change the mix of jobs rather than abolish work, but that transition can be genuinely painful for those caught in it. AI's impact splits into two big strands here. Economically, it can automate routine jobs, displacing some workers while creating new roles and lifting productivity, which raises fair questions about who actually benefits from the wealth. Environmentally, there's a cost that's easy to overlook. Training a large model burns through a lot of electricity, and the data centers need plenty of water for cooling. As models grow ever bigger, AI's carbon footprint is becoming a real sustainability concern. It's worth holding the benefits and the risks side by side honestly. On the plus side, AI can speed up medical diagnosis, make transport safer, widen access to information and education, and take on dull, dirty, or dangerous work. On the other side sit the risks: unfair, biased decisions at scale, the loss of privacy through surveillance, job displacement, and widening inequality, and a flood of misinformation and deepfakes that erodes trust. The same technology, in other words, can help or harm depending entirely on how it's handled. Generative AI brings a particularly modern worry: convincing fakes. It can produce realistic images, audio and video of real people, so a deepfake might make it look as though a politician said something they never did. AI-cloned voices have already been used in scams, imitating a family member or a boss to trick people into handing over money. All of this threatens our trust in news, in elections, and in evidence itself. The responses so far include detection tools, labeling content, and new laws against malicious use. Because these risks are so serious, governments and professional bodies have drawn up frameworks to guide responsible AI. They tend to share a common set of principles: fairness, accountability, transparency, privacy, safety, and human oversight. Floridi and Cowles neatly boil these down to 5: beneficence, non-maleficence, autonomy, justice, and explicability. And on top of the frameworks, professionals in the field are expected to follow codes of conduct, such as the one from the BCS. It helps to know a few of the actual rules and frameworks by name. The OECD principles from 2019 promote trustworthy, human-centered AI. The EU AI Act, passed in 2024, sets legal rules based on how risky a system is. The UK has taken a lighter, principles-based approach to regulation, while UK GDPR and the Data Protection Act govern personal data, and the BCS code covers professional ethics in IT. You don't need every detail, but knowing these exist shows the field is being taken seriously. So how do we actually keep AI on the right side of the line? Use diverse representative data and test systems for bias before they ever go live. Keep a human in the loop for important decisions and give people a way to appeal. Be open about when AI is being used and how it reaches its conclusions, and follow both the law and recognized ethical frameworks, designing systems to be safe by default. The key point is that ethical AI is a shared duty, spread across developers, organizations, regulators, and users alike. It's worth pausing on this thought, that AI shouldn't be something we scramble to regulate after the damage is done, but a force shaped by ethics right from the start. That idea, drawn from Floridi and Cowles, captures the whole spirit of this outcome. Build the values in at the beginning, rather than bolting them on at the end. Let's try to reach a balanced view. AI genuinely offers society a great deal: better healthcare, safer transport, and wider access to knowledge. Yet, without care, it can entrench bias, erode privacy, spread misinformation, and concentrate power in a few hands. The technology itself is essentially neutral. The ethics live in how it's designed, governed, and used. So the aim isn't to halt AI, but to steer it with strong ethics, good law, and human oversight. So the benefits clearly outweigh the harms. Let's draw the threads together. AI affects people, society, the economy, and the environment, which is what makes its ethics a social issue as much as a technical one. The main concerns are bias and fairness, privacy, surveillance, transparency, accountability, and automated decision-making. Bias mostly springs from unrepresentative data, while black box models make decisions hard to explain or challenge. Frameworks like the OECD principles, the EU AI Act, UK Regulation, UK GDPR, and the BCS Code exist to guide responsible AI, and a balanced judgment steers it with ethics, law, and oversight, so its benefits win out. That completes our look at the ethics of AI, from bias and privacy right through to accountability and regulation. If you'd like to explore further, the reading offers Kate Crawford's Atlas of AI on the Hidden Costs, the influential Floridi and Cowles paper on Principles for Society, and clear guidance from the Information Commissioner's Office on AI and data protection. You'll also find the OECD principles and the EU AI Act if you want the regulatory detail. Dip into a couple before the assignment, because ethical debates are always sharper when you can back them with a real source.